Well, hello everybody. How are you doing on this lovely Wednesday afternoon? Oh my goodness. So today I thought we would have a little bit of fun and I grabbed one of my totes out of the garage. I have this tote that I thought it would just be kind of fun to dig through and find my 3 projects I want to tinker with and see if I even can find 3 things that are started that I feel confident that I could pick up again. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I start a project, I put it away, and when I pick it up again, there's a period of time where I have to figure out what I was doing, figure out where I left off, what the stitch was, just kind of like, what was this again? Open this up. Okay, so these are just bags of stuffing that I used at an event. What else is in here? Oh my gosh, it's been a long time since I was in here. I had started a backpack for my mom once upon a time. That's as far as I got. I'm going to go ahead and pass on that. This is a blanket. Oh, this is like leftover tidbits. So that, I don't know what that is. Oh my gosh, this right here. I can work on these. This will be one of my projects. So remember back when I did little tissue pouches? A whole bag full of that. So we'll work on tissue pouches. This is a project that needs a lot of attention because it's like a intarsia color change. I have to do a lot of counting, so I don't want to do that here. Ooh, will I remember how to do this? We'll see. We'll check that one. Okay, and then some of this yarn I started, but didn't really like this one. I like have a chain, but I don't have a project in mind for that. So that one would take like a whole, this isn't a whip. This is like starting a project from scratch, wanting to use that yarn. Do you remember this yarn? So this is yarn from Hobie that I did a yarn review on a couple of years ago. Loved it. Didn't want to give it away. And so I still have it. Still haven't done anything with it. Okay, so I think I'm going to play with those 2 from the bin. And then I think the other thing I'm going to work on is just, I have a project over here on my desk even. Whoop. These 3 yarns, they're huge. This is a Lion brand Pound of Love. Well, my camera is like, and I'm making really cute little granny squares with it. I have a lot of light coming in. I'm like, this window is like, pew. So I think I'll just chisel away at these. I'll have some fun making little granny squares. All right, now that is 2:11 minutes past when I said I was going to start. Hopefully you have your project ready to go. Hopefully you are just waiting for me to start the timer because here we go. Are you ready? And first 20-minute section starts right now. All right, so I think what I will do, I'm going to save this one for last. I'm going to pick up this, move. This bag. So welcome everybody. Hi Heather. So glad that you're here. A couple of years ago, I don't know if you remember this, I did a tutorial on my channel making little tissue pouches with Velcro on the back. So you could like insert little tissue thing there. Then on the front, it has a little opening that you can rip the tissue out, and it has these cute little flower decals. So had a lot of fun with this project. I've sold this project at many craft shows, craft fairs, and people really like them. They think they're super cute, and they always sell out. I think that has a lot to do with it just being a smaller project that I can sell for a lower price point. And I think that's a big deal whenever you're crocheting anything to sell, making sure you have a significant amount of things on your table that are a lower price point. So that way people can, if they like what's on your table, they can feel like I can actually afford something that's on your table. I can actually get something to support you because I want to support your craft. And it makes people feel a little bit better. Or if you're doing a holiday bazaar, which is something I think is a really great idea for anyone wanting to start selling for the first time, making sure you have stuff on the table that is between the $10 and $20 mark, because a lot of kids or young families will go to holiday bazaars with intention of buying gifts. Like, all right, here's $10 for you to buy your sister something, or here's $20 for you to buy dad something, you know, so like, or, oh, I need to buy something for Nana, or, oh, I need to, you know, you go to a holiday bazaar between the month of October and December with intentions of, I have to buy something. And if it's something handmade, then it feels even more special. And so people come with the intention of spending money. And so I really appreciate those, but you also want to make sure the stuff on your table is going to be within that price point that they have in mind to spend. If you go with stuff that's just too expensive, then you're not going to make the sales that you want, because people are like, I only have $20. Your stuff's 25, your stuff's $30. I can't buy it because I only have $20, you know? So just kind of like the psychology behind it, being smart. Oh, hi, Fran. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so like I said, whenever I have projects, I always keep my crochet hook with them. So I have the crochet hook right there. Gosh, this will be a great one to chisel away at. And then, yeah, I think another thing that I mentioned before was when I make projects like this, I like to provide options, because some people get really stuck on the idea of, oh, she made it in this color, so I can only make it in that color. Now, some people are more creative and they're like, oh, I'm going to take that design, I'm going to use a different yarn, or I'm going to use a different color. And other people, they really struggle with that. They need to see it to get the inspiration. They need to see it in other colors or in other formats in order to be inspired or want to make it. And so I understand that. I've been doing YouTube long enough to know there are quite a few people that need just a little bit of help in the inspiration ideas category. But unfortunately, because I know that, and because I want to help, I end up overbuying yarn. And so, like I mentioned, here I am showing people how to make a tissue holder. And I went and I bought, well, I had like 5 colors. Here's 4. I had a white cream one too. Where is that one? I don't know what I did with that one. It's not in the bag. Apparently I did something else with the white one. But yeah, I'll go and I'll buy too much, and then I make the demos, and then I'm left with a bunch of leftover yarn. And I'm like, okay. And that just ends up going into the pile. So I got these 3. And I'm currently at this stage with the green. Where's my crochet hook? There you are. I don't need you. Okay, we have 14 minutes and 30 seconds left for project number 1. I am curious if you find a second, because you're probably frantically like focused on the project that you're working on. If you get a second, please share in the comments what 3 projects you're going to work on today. I'd love to hear it. I think it's so much fun. Okay. Oh my gosh, I don't even have like the pretty pattern that I created for y'all. I'm here with my scratch notes. My scribble. I'm here with my scribble. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's what I get for just digging in the bin. Okay. So it says I would go to row 36. Where am I at with this section? Oh, no worries, Nessa. I'm glad that you made it. I'm glad you're here. Oh, yay, you finished your whip. I love it. So on to a new project. Super cool. See, Fran, you are one of the few that I just have so much respect for when it comes to like self-restraint on a project. One of the one whip at a time people. 24 point star blanket. Ooh, a 24 point. Ooh. That would be really pretty though. I like that. So I am 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. Okay, so then stop and then continue with a border. Chain one turn. Do. Okay. Four. My scratch. One single chain each stitch. And then corners make 3. Flat make 2 run. Straight angles. Okay, I think I got it. All right. Here we go. Okay. 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Good. I actually have some time to put into this project. I was worried. I was like, I'm going to take so long to figure out what I'm doing. I'm going to have like no time to actually work on it. Heather, you said I'm actually taking a break from crocheting today. Oh, good for you. Breaks are important. They really are. I've been working on commissions. Oh, I need a break. Totally get it. Adult coloring and listening to you in the background. I love adult coloring. That's one of my favorite other things to do aside from crocheting. I really enjoy adult coloring. There's something I've always had. I've always had not an obsession, but a thrill with like office supplies. I might sound crazy, but I have always gotten a thrill with like office supplies, like fancy pens, brand new pens, brand new pencils, different colored pens, because I love to make notes in like different colored ink. I'm sure ADHD comes into play there, where just attention span. A whole page full of the same color, just kind of like all of a sudden I start to get like drifty, and like colored pencils with the sharp pen, brand new crayons. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sound so crazy right now, but brand new crayons. I instantly open a box of crayons and I'm like, I have to use you right now. And then paper. I love paper. I'm one of those crazy people with, planners. I love stickers with planners. Yeah. I've always loved that kind of stuff. So adult coloring, I don't get to do it as much as I would probably like, but you give me a brand new box of crayons and I am like a giddy girl. Oh my gosh. But yeah, commissions, you mentioned that you just finished commissions, or you've been working on commissions. That's tough because when you have to crochet, it can kill your crojo when you have to do it, opposed to being inspired, being motivated, and being excited about a project. Having to do it, just fighting through it, that can be real rough. I know for me, that was something I experienced when selling as a vendor, because I would want to have multiple of the same things on my table, because certain things would sell really fast, and they would sell like instantly at the beginning of an event. And then by the end of the event, I was stuck with like what people, were like, about, and all the good stuff was gone. And so I was like, okay, I need to stop just making things just to make things. I need to stock up on the things I know will do well. And so I'm making a bunch of the same thing. And after a while, you're just like, I don't want to make this anymore. No, I don't want to. Can really kill Crojo. So I applaud you for taking a break. And then Nessa, you said you're working on 3 shawls and a Christmas blanket, plus my blanket squares for the crochet along the ends of 2 different projects. You got so much going on, Nessa. You sound like me. But 3 shawls? 3 shawls? Wow. That's really cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and just tie off right here. No, I'll do one. I'll just tie off right here. I think. Did I do that right? Yeah, I think. Yeah, because I think I just joined right there. Oh, man. Coming back to a project I haven't touched in over a year. Hi, Mary. Hi, Gabalot. So happy you're here. Glad to see you. When I did giveaways on my YouTube channel, when I reached my last milestone, I had some adult coloring books on the giveaway. Yes. And you too have a hard time making things for commissions? Yeah. I mean, it can be the biggest compliment when somebody reaches out to you and asks like, hey, would you make something for me? I'll pay you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I get to crochet and make money. Like I get to do what I love and make money. That's the dream, right? That is so cool. And then there's a point in there when you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I just want to crochet because I want to have fun. I guess that's where balance really comes in. And constantly, the multiple projects. So give your commission projects some time, and then give yourself personal inspiration time, like mix it together and not have it dominantly one or the other. Row 1 to row 28 and then whip stitch to join. 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes. A crochet along of a shawl and Afghan kit. Well, it's nice when the stuff's all provided to you. So 1 to 28. Okay, I guess I'll go, no. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 6, 28. Okay, so there. And there. Okay. There we go. You still have a commission from winter that you haven't started and you forgot about? Like, yeah. Well, were you paid, or was it like just like get to it when you get to it? Like, I guess there's some context. Was it for a family member or for like an actual like somebody else that isn't family or close personal friend? That's funny. Still good. About 2.5 minutes left. I'm not going to weave in my ends. I'm going to try to just join the other side before I stop. Like crunch time. Go, 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 go. You can do it. All right. Where am I? Okay. Go. Oh, I like that you said that with Mary Maxim kits. It's good to know. I haven't bought many kits. So knowing that they're great at providing all of the materials, but you just got to be careful to match up to their gauge. That's super important. That's really good to know, especially with certain materials. I know, like with my first square of my 2024 sampler blanket crochet along project, the very first square we used practically, or basically, basically the entire skein of yarn that I was providing. Like there was just a small bit remaining. And so some people were like, I finished the yarn with like 4 rows to go. And I'm like, how? But it's because some people crochet looser. So their tension was just a lot looser than mine. And so gauge can be super important, especially with crochet alongs where they're providing material and it's close, it's really close. All right, so we got about 15 seconds left, so I'll just go ahead and stop there. There's no point in me picking anything else up because it's done. But I wonder. Yeah. Okay, alarm's going off. Cool. Okay, now we got a 5-minute intermission or transition time. So 5 minutes. Start. The other thing that's a major bummer about picking up a project after it's been a while is I think I just joined that backwards. I think I should have had it on the other side. I think I should have joined it on the other side so that way the stitch of the right side would be on that. Yeah. So at least I didn't weave any of the ends in. So now I'll go back and I'll just take those out, like just undo that join and flip it and join it the other way. But all right. The nature of the beast of having a bunch of whips you haven't seen for a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away. Okay. Put all of this. I will admit though, it is kind of fun going through the tote and like reminding myself of, well, what's in here? What did I stash away? And I'll put that in there. Put my crochet hooks in there, and all the little tidbits in there. All right. So I'll keep this out because I'll just fix that after the session. The next thing I'm going to pick up, oh boy, will I remember how to do this? Where was I? What part was I on? Okay. I know. Oh, well, at least it was just something small. At least it was small. So this is a top that I started. I think I started it early last year. And I got like this far with it. I think I'm doing sleeves now. Whoa, that just totally just dropped. Here, it's this is the pattern. If I take away the back, so that's the pattern. And here it is, where I'm at. I think I'm making sleeves. Let's check this out. Got my crochet hook still attached to it. I guess that's just my my signature move right there. I actually traveled down the road in a truck with no AC, 99-degree weather, girl. But I wanted to be here, almost home now. Ah, girl, roll that window down. Wind, hopefully, because sometimes the wind doesn't help. It's like hot wind, you know. Once I took out the whip 2 weeks ago, I wasn't able to put it back away. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think it. I'm glad you think it's cute. So 1 minute 40 seconds. Yep, it is. I'm making a sleeve, a tapered sleeve. Interesting how the yarn color ended up like doing this very interesting, like that. It did it on its own. I didn't color control that at all. So this is the yarn, and it did this cool pattern on its own. So the bummer thing with this is that when I started my partnership with Fiber Lady, because this is Fiber Lady yarn, bamboo, 100% bamboo. This I think is a size 2 sport weight yarn. Their hope was that I would help them sell their yarn, and I wanted to, like they have such gorgeous yarn. They have gorgeous colors. Their yarn quality is amazing. They really have no competition in their space, because what they do is, I mean, they make their own yarn and they dye their own yarn, and they are kind of like artists, and they're artists in a lot of ways. But what was challenging is that I'm going to do a lot of like this, to see where I'm at, because I don't even know. The challenge was that I would want to use their yarn, and I would want to make a project with it. And I've made a couple projects. I started this top, and there's a purple shawl around here somewhere. All right, pausing for a second. We're about to start session number 2. I'm going to try to be a lot better structured in this, so that way you're not waiting too much while I'm just talking. So section 2, project dos, starting now. All right. So designating all your attention to project number 2. Where's the shawl? I know I have it right here, because I want to do a tutorial on it. I finished this project. There it is. Wanted to make a very simple shawl. So the shawl is finished, and it has wings. So it like does this look with the wings. And it's very, very simple pattern, beautiful color. So both of these projects, I was working 2 projects, and this yarn is thin. It's size 2 weight yarn. Takes a lot of time, especially when I have to intermix the project with other things. But what was challenging is that they have a really hard time replicating colors. And so if like this top that I'm making, I was so excited because I loved color. I thought it was amazing. And I got this far with it, and I'm like, can you replicate this color? And he tried, and he just couldn't replicate it. And so, and even with this purple, he tried to replicate the purple, and he couldn't replicate it. And so it's really challenging with an indie dyer, working with an indie dyer. Rosetta, hi, I'm so glad you've made it. Welcome. Because they, every time, every dye lot that they make, can look different. It can be challenging sometimes to get the dye lot to be similar enough or the same. And when I am working projects, people want to use the exact same yarn that I used, or they want the exact same outcome that I produced in the tutorial, in the video. And if I can't provide that, it becomes a problem. It becomes challenging. So I'm still making these demos, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them to Fiber Lady so that way they can show people what you can make with their yarn, even though these colors don't exist anymore or don't exist. They can't replicate them. They can still show people projects that can be made with their yarn and what it feels like. So yeah, that was a learning curve, figuring that out and knowing how we could work together. That's another thing with a partnership. Sometimes you go into it thinking it'll be one way, and you communicate and you play, you figure out how, you go try this and you try that and see what works. And you eventually find how you can both benefit each other. Now I have my awesome Gemstone Ecolux Crochet with Tiffany yarn line with them, and I am still going to be able to promote their yarn with certain projects. Yeah, 2-weight yarn, 1 and 2-weight yarn. I am noticing after, I've been dabbling with wearables for a little over a year now. I understand why so many people make wearables with size 2 weight yarn, size 1 weight yarn. It's because it's light, it's more comfortable. It can be more drapey and flowy, which feels a little bit nicer to wear. So the feel is more supreme. It's better with a thinner yarn, just lightweight, doesn't feel too thick. The thicker you get with the yarn, the warmer the project is, the heavier the project is to wear. And it can be great during the winter, but sometimes this is just better. But it is something that, because it's so thin, it takes longer. How long do I want you to be? Okay, so I'm going to actually end up setting this project down on my desk. It's a mess. Yeah, you just saw that. All these papers flying about. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to lay this out so that way I can see how I want my sleeves to go. Okay. Another thing I considered doing is, because I can't show people how to make this top in particular because the yarn doesn't exist anymore, I can at least get the pattern created, and then I can take the pattern and use a different yarn for like sample number 2. And now that I have a pattern created, hopefully the project goes faster. And then I can keep the pattern, keep the project, and just update the colors. Look at this, maybe that way. You don't know what I'm doing. Let's see if you can see it. So I laid this flat, got the arm, putting it up against where the hole would be. So my hole is actually that big. Could make it a few more rounds. It's going to be a really thin arm. Curious about it because look how thin this arm is. How I tapered it. It's super thin. So we'll see. I think I tried it on when I started. I think I was like putting my arm through. That was a year ago. You know, body weight fluctuates. Will it still fit? We'll see. Okay. I'm actually going to. Why do I have it? Oh, it's because I didn't increase every row or every round. 12 minutes. Where are my increases? There's an increase. So that's the other thing. I'm pulling out a project I haven't touched in a long time now. I'm figuring it out. Where was I? Increase there. 1, 2, increase. Okay, so I increase and then have 2 rounds between. So next round I'm going to increase. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm at an increase round. Cool. Does it fit? I'll try it on later. I'll let you know. I have to undo my seam a few times to other projects, and I wanted to cry. Oh, I know. Your seams were done so well, and you had to undo them. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay. Increase. There we go. Mm-hmm. Right. Gabalot, you said, now is a good time to remind everyone to record their projects in a notebook. Yeah. I use my iPad. I use the notebook section of my iPad generally, or I try to. Sometimes I forget to add certain information. I probably could. I just hate being restricted. I probably could benefit from a crochet notebook. Maybe I should make one. I should go on Canva and put one together. Be like, what would work best for me? I got my pillow. Brought it with me. For some reason my shoulder hurts today. It's going to feel good stretching that out. Okay. 8 minutes, 40 seconds. I guess that's a good question I have for everyone. Does anyone here, or if you're watching the replay, let me know. Does anyone here use a crochet, like a actual crochet notebook that asks you all the questions, like what materials you used, and what pattern you were using, what size project you're making, what type of project you were making? Does anybody use an actual crochet notebook? And if you do, which one do you use or do you really like? I am going to look into some and see what I think. It's hard for me with the ones that ask for like your yarn inventory, because I'm like, it's going to take me like a week to fill that out. Like, I mean, I see the benefit of it, but it'll take me forever. Like, oh, FYI, if anyone didn't know, today is the last day for Amazon Prime Day. It was yesterday and today. So if you are somebody who shops on Amazon often or has anything in your cart, might want to go check, because today is the last day of their Amazon Prime Day. I made a couple purchases late last night. Unfortunately, I did not make any crochet purchases. I do have books on my wish list, crochet books on my wish list, but it's too close to my birthday. And I told my husband I'd put all my books on a shared wish list. I put all the things that I want on a shared wish list, and I just share with him the list, so he would know what I wanted. Anybody else do that? Have an Amazon wish list that you just fill that out, and then when it's close to like a holiday or your birthday or something, you just share your list with people. Because whenever it gets close to, say, my birthday, people will ask, like, what do you want? And then I swear that question has magical powers of erasing your brain. It erases your memory, because as soon as somebody asks me, what do you want? I'm like, I go blank. Like, what do I want? I don't know. Like, even though throughout the year I'm like, ooh, I'd like that. Ooh, I'd like that. Ooh, I'd like that. Like, so just having a spot is helpful. Give people a little direction. Give people a little help. Oh, awesome. Okay, I got some responses. So, ooh, got a lot of responses. Okay, going back. Nessa says, yes, that is a good idea, Mary, especially if they are using a pattern, or they're not using a pattern and following it exactly. Yeah, a lot of people I know make their own adjustments or their own creative liberties. So that's a good idea to write those in. Yeah, I should write everything down when creating a pattern. It can be tedious and annoying, but I always feel grateful when I do it. But there's so many times when I just want to go. Like, just let me create. And now I'll have this whole negotiation with myself of, I'll just go, and you can come back and you can write it down after you did it. And sometimes I can, and sometimes I can't. It's like, crap, what did I do? Oh, Catherine, you use a diary from Ophelia Talks Crochet. Ooh, I'm going to have to check that out. Oh, okay. Now, so you use Ravelry to take notes and stuff. Some apps will let you do that, and it's super cool, especially like Ribbler. Ribbler is great with that. Rosetta, I got from Olivia Talks. She is working on the 2025 book now. Ooh, and it should be on sale soon. Ooh, okay. Cool. I'm going to check her out too. Heather, yes, I have 2 Pinterest boards for gift ideas that I share with my family. I love that one for supplies and one for everything else. I love Pinterest. I didn't even think about using Pinterest though as a gifting board idea. That's a good idea. Whew. Nice, Mary. Oh, I'm curious what you're gonna do with all that yarn. Oh, so Heather, I don't know if that was a question or if you're going to provide a link, but for those of you who have suggestions on diaries or notebooks, crochet notebooks, if you have the ability to share a link with the group, that would be so cool. Just so that way we can go check that out. 30 seconds. $11 each. Bravo. You find great sales. Yeah, I usually use just notebook paper myself, Nessa. Kind of just, again, scribble, scratch stuff. All right, that's it. Our 20 minutes is up. Great job on completing your second round of 20 minutes. Now, here, let me go ahead and do a 5-minute timer. Okay, 5 minutes. Go ahead and wrap up the project that you were just working on. Make sure, or go ahead and fold it, put it away nice and neatly. I mean, the one thing about pulling projects out that I haven't seen in a while, it's like I'm one of those people. I need to keep things in my space. I need to just constantly be seeing them. Otherwise, if it's out of sight, out of mind, I completely forget about it. And knowing that about myself, it makes it so I try to keep things out. So that way my visual scan, I will see it and I will be like, oh yeah, I'm working on that right now. That is something I need to give some attention to. And unfortunately, because I know that about myself, I end up having a lot of things in my visual and it creates clutter and it creates a problem. And that is another reason why I'm doing these WIP Wednesday things, because I've got to get rid of the clutter. It's good for your brain. It's good for de-stressing. I would love to embrace the minimalistic lifestyle. I would love to have my space have this aesthetic appeal where it was clean, organized, and certain colors and certain textures and everything. It looks like just so pretty, I would love to have that, but it's really difficult as a crafter because I accumulate, I get a lot, I work on a lot of things at the same time. And so I have a lot of things working and I want to say embrace the chaos, but I know myself and I know that I can't embrace the chaos. It just causes me stress. And so eventually I'd love to get to the point where, yes, I have a lot of yarn, but it's specific yarn, specific colors, specific textures that go with my aesthetic, that go with my space. And those can stick around for a while and it's fine. It's kind of like a combination of decor slash we'll use it eventually in a project type yarn. Love to get there. But I also want it to be under control enough where I can have like little cubbies or an organization system of anything that I'm currently working on. And then hopefully it'd be great to get down to only have like 5 working whips at a time. like 5 would be okay with me. I'd be good with 5, but right now I have like 25 and that's too much. That is too much. All right. So hopefully you have taken your second. We have 2 minutes left. And then we're going to stretch. We're going to do our little stretches. So make sure that you put your project away. I'm going to go ahead and put this one just back here for now because over there is just madness, chaos. And we're not going to look at that. We're not going to look at that. I'll bring this one, project 3 out. I'll have project 3 ready for when I'm ready to hit that timer. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stand. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to move my camera so that way you can actually see me. I'm going to move my chair out of the way. Sort of. All right. And if you are done with your project too, here, I'm like looking up. You don't need to look up at my nose, like up my nose. That's good. That's a good camera angle. If you're finished with your project, if you could just stand, that in itself is a big deal because when we crochet, when we're working, when we're comfortable, whether we're coloring, like some of us are coloring right now, or if we are crocheting, or if we're working on cross stitch, or if we are doing any hobby, any craft, or, just kind of sitting in general, our body has been in that set position for a long time. And we just need to get our body out of that position because if you don't know, the more you sit, the more, talking biology, like our body, like what's the word? The fluctuation of the blood that goes through our body ends up starting to just sit in certain spots, and that can be bad. That can not be very great. Or we're staying in a certain position, and that can cause a lot of either strain, or it can cause a lot of pressure, or your body just holding a certain weight, or that it's not used to holding for that amount of time. So we just need to stand. Just stand. All right. Timer is up. Ready to stretch? Let's go. All right. We're going to start with our hands. Let's start with our hands. So let's do wrist rolls. We're going to do 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go the other way just to be efficient. So roll your hands the other way if you can. 1, 2. That feels weird. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Hands. So now I'm going to do flashes where I'm just opening my fingers like this. Because again, we're used to a position. Let's just kind of give our fingers a stretch. So let's do 10 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. Now, every time we meet, we'll do different stretches, different hands, but that's all we're going to do for hands for today. Now, when it comes to our forearms, let's go ahead and just take our forearms and we're going to just kind of like change them over, like roll your arms. Roll. Hopefully you're feeling that a lot in your forearm or even up the side. I'm getting it in the elbow a little bit. and out, up and out, up and out. Okay, great. Now, hopefully you felt it a little bit here. Again, every week we will do something different just to shake it up. I don't want it to get boring. Now let's do our shoulders. So let's do some shoulder rolls. Oh, I'm glad you didn't hear that. I get stuck in a position because I'm like here, and when I roll back, I hear like all these pops, and it's so I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound great, but I'm sure that it feels good. So we're gonna go with that. Again, whenever it comes to any of these stretches, if any of the stretches that we do don't feel good to you, listen to your body. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional physical therapist or anything. I'm just showing you some basic stretches. So listen to your own body. I don't want anyone to hurt themselves or put themselves in any pain by doing what we're doing. But just kind of backwards. We're going to start forward and back. We really want to open up our chest here because we're so used to this all the time. So I think that's 6. Let's do 10. And then 7, 8, 9, 10. Now let's go the other way just for some balance and some symmetry. So starting back and forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. So we've done our hands. We've done our forearms, we've done our shoulders. Let's do our neck now, because again, we often do like this leaning forward. So I want to do a couple forward back. So forward and then back and then forward and back and then side to side. So let's start with forward and back. Let's do 10 of them. So forward, chin, and back. Then forward, 2, and back. Oh, my hair. Forward, 3, and back, forward 4, and back, forward 5, and back, forward 6, and back, forward 7, and back, forward 8, and back, forward 9, and back, forward 10, and back, and center. Now side to side. So let's go. Start with your right. So my left, your right. So right, and then left. There's 1. Right, and left. 2. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, 9, right, left, last one, right, left. Great. So now we've done our neck, we've done our shoulders. So I'm going to say that's upper back. Now just lower back. Let's do some twists. Just kind of like get ourselves out of that stale, stagnant funk. So we're going to go this way, and that's 1. Okay, so let's do right, left. There's 1. Right, left, 2. Right, left, 3. Right, left, 4. Right, left, 5. Right, left, 6. Right, left, 7. Right, left, 8. Right, left, 9. Right, left, 10. And that's it. Great job, everybody. Thank you so much for stretching with me. I hope it felt good. It's not supposed to be complicated. It's not supposed to be like break a sweat, grab some water. I mean, you can still grab some water. Stay hydrated. Please stay hydrated. But it's really just to get our body to get out of that set position we've been in for 40 minutes now. 2 sessions, 20 minutes each, plus the 5 minutes. So a little more than 40 minutes. But the idea is every 40, 45 minutes to like an hour's pushing it. But about that much time, we should pause and we should get up and just kind of stretch our body and then sit back down and you can keep going. But, again, the longer we stay in a set position, the more opportunity for problems to arise. So great job. Thank you so much for stretching with me. My family says I have to give up my Japanese card because I love Korean culture so much. Oh, I missed something up there. I feel like I walked into a conversation that was already going. Oh, I'm so glad that did feel good. And every week, hopefully I can bring just something different to the table. So again, it doesn't feel like, oh, she's doing this again. Hopefully I can bring a little something. All right. Go ahead and pick up your project number 3. We're in our last 20-minute section here. And after this, we are done. So let's go ahead and 20 minutes. 20 minutes and begin. Okay, so for me, I'm doing these super simple granny squares. There we go. I found a yarn or 3 yarns a little while ago. I was shopping. I went on Pinterest and I found some color combinations. I did a color board and I was like looking through popular colors that look good together. And I was like, I wonder if I can find yarn that matches these colors that look good together. And I did. I found some yarns that just fit this beautiful aesthetic that I loved on Pinterest. And I mean, I got them, took pictures of them, and I was like, okay, now I'd love to do something with them once upon a time, in the future maybe. And didn't do it. And finally I was like, I want to do this so bad. These colors are so pretty, but I want it to be simple. I also noticed that some of the projects I've been seeing out there on Pinterest or out there on YouTube, they're very simple. They're the same. They're the things that you've seen like a bazillion times. Like you've seen people work these projects, show how to teach these projects so many times, but never in this color combination, or never in this vibe or this feel. So I'm going with it. I'm like, you know what? I think this would be a lot of fun. Do something simple. Just focus on colors. So we will see. And this project is one that it's going to take me a while because it's granny squares. And as most of you know, granny squares are deceiving and deceptive. Because you look at them and you're like, oh, that's it. That's all I got to do. I'll make that in no time. Like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, man, I'm still working on granny squares. Like, what? All right. I just feel like the very common, very basic granny square can be done so many different ways. And there's so many different things that you can do with it that even knowing how to do a basic granny square, the opportunities of what you can do with that granny square are just endless. And whereas one project you see made with basic granny squares is not your vibe, it's like, no, that's nothing I'd ever make, nothing I'd ever want to do. And then all of a sudden you see that exact same granny square pattern done a different way. And you're like, oh, I got to make that. You're like, wait a second. It's the same pattern. It's the exact same, just somebody did it a little like different with colors, or they positioned certain things in a different way. It's so funny. It's just so funny. I found myself doing that a couple times, especially like going down the street and seeing what's popular, and a basic granny square, old school, made with regular acrylic yarn, size 4 weight, something you've seen a lot with a blanket. And then all of a sudden you see that same exact granny square pattern made with a size 2 weight like alpaca or wool yarn and in this rustic color scheme that somebody made a tank top out of, and you're like, oh, never seen that before. I never met. I gotta make that. It's just, again, it's all about what you do with it. Oop, went too much. Too much. I'd love to embrace that and inspire some people with that. Crochet does not have to be hard. Still made too many. I started talking and I made way too many stitches. There we go. Oops. I want to do this. There we go. All right. I love seeing the conversation going on in the chat. If you have a question for me, please do me a favor and start your question with a couple question marks, because I can already see there's quite a bit of stuff I've missed in the chat already. And if you do have a question, I want to make sure I get to you. And question marks help me. Where's the tail? There's the tail. Like, where's the end? Got a little yarn barf going on over here. Good for you, Mary. You have 68 granny squares done and you're needing to take a break. Totally understand. How many more do you need to make? And how big is the blanket that you're wanting to make? Heather, thank you for the question marks. I saw someone using a large Poppet square, a stitch row counter for her crochet projects. How do you keep track of your stitches and row count? Great question. I will generally just count. And I might repeat a count, or I'll just have to go back and start from the beginning of a row, and just the row I will count how many stitches I have across, or how many groups, if it's like a multiple, like a fan or a bobble, like how many of those are supposed to be across. And then I'll just periodically count those in a row to make sure I'm staying on track. And then when it comes to rows, depends on if I'm just doing the exact same pattern for 130 rows, and then I really won't start counting until I feel like I am getting closer, and then I'll be like, where am I at? And I'll just count how many rows that I've made. So I don't keep track of that information as I go. Some people need that, and it helps them to know what that is. And for those people, do whatever you got to do to make the project comfortable and something that you can, like, gives you the best experience. But for me, I don't have anything to keep count. I know they have like little finger counters, and there's different things that you can use for counting. I just never used them. If I am making something large and there's a lot of stitches in a row, then I will use stitch markers throughout the row where I'll count so many stitches, and then I'll place a stitch marker and know, okay, that's 50 stitches. And then from this stitch to this stitch, that's another 50 stitches. Or, I'll be able to do that to help keep me on track if I'm like constantly like losing count or something. But yeah, that's something I just kind of do as I go. I don't keep track of those things generally. Oh, I'm so glad that you were here. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I want to make sure I see her name. Sakura Sue. Right. I have 40, needs 60 or more. Full size blanket, maybe. Ooh, a full size, dang. It's going to be a nice big blanket. 10 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock. Yeah, that's a lot of granny squares. I understand needing to take a break. Kind of like, where is her comment? Up here. Our friend who is taking a break from crochet because of commissions. Yeah, Heather. See, I remembered your comment. So yeah, Heather is kind of in the same boat where she is just need to take a break from that project because possibly losing Crojo a little bit. Same thing with granny squares or any monotonous, repetitive projects. It's good to set that down and have a backup. So Mary, what's your backup? Are you still working on the purse? You got something else? What I meant was I have to count stitches and when pattern testing to make sure the designer wrote the correct number of what my count and size is. Ah, yes, the little girl purses. That makes sense. Yeah. So when it comes to designing, if I am making something and I am needing to count stitches, I will go off of making the one size to dimension. So I'll have like my tape measure out, make sure that I'm hitting dimension, and then I will count how many stitches. And if there's a multiple stitch count requirement, I'll make sure that I accommodate for that too, or I mention that in there. And then I just make the information for the one size, and then I do the math to figure out all the other sizes. So that is kind of how I will grab my numbers. I use that measuring tape hard. Like, what's the measurement? What's the measurement? How do I need to adjust? I will admit though, I would love to get a lot more of my projects pattern tested. I just, right now, a lot of my projects that I make are like flying at the seat of my pants, and I don't give myself enough time to do all of the things like pattern testing or tech editing. I end up just having to like create it, do the best I can, and then release it because I'm moving so fast. And so that's why I am hoping to slow down and find some other projects that I can make, create, work on with everybody that doesn't necessarily require so much of that. Some smaller things that we can get through together and buy myself a little bit more time to utilize testers and tech editors. I would love to give myself like 3-4 month buffer would be amazing. A 6-month buffer would be the dream, the ideal. But right now I'm giving myself like a week. Like, it's crazy madness. And that's why, and Nessa in particular, if anyone here is not part of the crochet club, I would love for you to participate and join. We have our crafters gathering meets every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be getting together for another crafters gathering. But Nessa, that's why I was picking your brain so hard the other night about you being a pattern tester. Is like, how much time is a good amount of time to give somebody? Because I would love to get to that point of providing enough time for somebody to make a project while at the same time, like, not making them feel rushed. So like big buffer. That's the other thing, is I'm not just a pattern designer. I'm also a YouTuber, a content creator. So if I just made books, if I just made patterns, if I just did Instagram, or just did Pinterest, if I just did blogs, I would have a lot more freedom of time. But because I got to make a video every week, puts a little bit more pressure on it. A little more time pressure. But I'm excited about where my channel direction is going to go the rest of the year. I'm excited to see how it evolves. We have 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Yes. So when it comes to the stitch count for every row, I usually get those from just doing the math. Ideally, it should be correct, but I understand how that's not always the case. Oh. Today I'm feeling it in my shoulder. I need to use this. Use this more. I mean it, man. I can feel it when I don't use this. Oh, oops. Okay, 2 minutes, 20 seconds. I'm going to try real hard to finish this square. If you're typing anything to me in the chat, I promise I'll get to it. I'm just like trying to play crochet chicken with the clock right now. See if I can do this. Let's color. Ooh, 30 seconds. I'm not going to win, but I will at least get close. Oh, and that's the timer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I will finish this where as soon as we wrap things up here. You guys, this was awesome. I had so much fun chatting it up with you, working these 3 projects with you, pulling things out that I haven't seen in a long time. That was interesting. And just being aware of how much time it took me to figure out where I left off to get myself situated so that way I could start working on a project. But that was a lot of fun. And I hope you had fun too. Thank you for being here. I hope this helps, these 20-minute sections. Remember that I do convert these lives into actual videos where I will like trim out the fluff in the beginning, and I will leave the 20-minute sections alone. So if you want to come back to any of the replays of this whenever you need to just have that timer, have that segmented time for yourself, maybe a different time of day works better for you, or you want to do this again twice a day or whatever you want to do, you can always come back and rewatch these, and the timer will be there for you, and hopefully it helps. Again, together we will chisel away at our whips. And I want to thank you for holding me accountable as well. Thank you for being here, because it helps me also to make sure that I do the things that are important to me, and I hope that it helps you do the things that are important to you. We will meet again next Wednesday. Circle it on your calendar if you need to, put a reminder in your phone, a little alert if you need to. Next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, Texas time, we will get together for our next Wednesday WIP Knockout. I hope you guys have a great day. Mwah. I will see all my crafters gatherers tonight. And wait, I have a question from Heather. Before I go, I want to make sure I give attention to the chat before I completely say goodbye. Do you do market craft fairs? I know a while back you said you did before COVID, but you had stopped. Was wondering if you went back to it. I did one afterwards. 2 years ago, I did one, but I was definitely out of practice a little bit. I didn't have the stuff on my table that I wanted, because I just didn't have the time to build up the inventory that I really wanted. And that's what I meant by being out of practice, is I just didn't have the stuff created. And it is a real struggle balancing, making sure I have a new tutorial out every week, and also crocheting enough inventory to put on a table to sell. Though I would love to eventually do that again. It's so much fun to be a vendor. It's so much fun to sell your crochet and see people get excited about something you made with your 2 hands. It's very rewarding, especially when someone buys it and you're like, wow, something that I made is going into somebody else's home and going to be loved by somebody else. And I've also shipped some of the things that I've made around the world. So a little piece of me it feels like a little piece of me is all over the world, which is such a cool feeling. So if anybody is ever interested in selling their crochet, I'm here to help spread the knowledge, information, experience that I have. I have 7 years of experience crocheting as a vendor at farmers markets, events, festivals, bazaars, being a somebody that does consignment in little boutiques and little shops. So if you just have any questions, I am here for you. But other than that, guys, I hope you have the best day, and I'll see you very soon. Mwah. Goodbye.